Imagine a billionaire who owned everything except love, a man so powerful that people feared him, but no one truly knew him. Every day, he watched his maid leave the mansion with a small bag in her hand. She was quiet, she was honest, she never asked for anything, but she was hiding a secret. One day he decided to follow her, and what he discovered shattered his heart forever. She was secretly helping a poor little girl, but the reason behind it was so shocking, it changed his life completely. Before we dive into the topic, don't forget to like the video, subscribe channel, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Leonardo Cruz was known as the coldest millionaire in the city. People said he had no heart, he had no family, no friends, no laughter in his mansion. His house was big, silent and empty. The walls were expensive, but they felt lonely. He believed feelings were weakness. He believed kindness was a waste of time. Money was his only language. The only human voice in his house was Maria, his maid. She was gentle, polite, and always respectful. She worked silently, never complained, never argued. But Leonardo barely noticed her, until one day, he did. He saw Maria leaving the mansion every afternoon with a small cloth bag. She always returned late, tired and quiet. Her eyes looked heavier each day. Leonardo felt something strange, suspicion, curiosity, fear. Is she stealing from me? He thought. Is she hiding something? He checked his money. Nothing was missing. He checked the house. Everything was perfect. Still, something felt wrong. He watched her from the window one evening. Maria walked out slowly, looking around, as if she didn't want anyone to see her. She held the bag tightly to her chest. Leonardo's heart started beating faster. He felt tension growing inside him. He had power over everything, but this secret bothered him. That night he made a decision that would change everything. He decided to follow her. He didn't know that this simple decision would break his cold heart and teach him what love truly means. Leonardo waited until Maria disappeared down the road. Then he quietly got into his car and followed her from a distance. The city slowly changed around him. Luxury buildings disappeared. Bright lights turned into broken street lamps. Clean roads turned into dusty, cracked paths. He had never come to this part of the city before. It felt like another world. Maria stopped in front of a small old wooden house. The roof was damaged. The door looked weak. The place felt forgotten. A little girl opened the door. She was thin. Her clothes were old, but her eyes, they were bright and full of hope. The girl ran to Maria and hugged her tightly. She laughed, a soft, innocent laugh that Leonardo had not heard in years. Maria knelt down and touched the girl's face like a mother. She opened the cloth bag and gave her food, clothes, and a small notebook. Leonardo watched in silence. His hands were shaking on the steering wheel. The girl said softly, "Aunt Maria, thank you. One day I will become a doctor and help my mom." Maria smiled, but her eyes were wet. She held the girl's hand and spoke slowly, like every word was heavy on her heart. Leonardo felt something painful in his chest. This woman who cleaned his floors was giving her heart to a child she didn't even know. He wanted to look away, but he couldn't. He saw them sit together. Maria taught the girl how to read. The girl repeated words slowly, proudly. Leonardo felt tension, confusion, and a strange warmth. Why was she doing this? Who was this child? Why did Maria care so much? He stayed there for hours, hidden, watching in silence. The sun started going down. The streets became quiet. When Maria finally left the house, she looked tired but peaceful, as if helping that girl was the only thing that gave her life meaning. Leonardo whispered to himself, "There is more to this story, and I need to know the truth." That night, he couldn't sleep. The image of the poor girl and Maria's wet eyes stayed in his mind. For the first time, he felt something he had ignored for years, curiosity mixed with guilt, and deep inside, a fear that the truth would change him forever. The next morning, Leonardo woke up with a heavy mind. He could not forget the girl's smile, or Maria's trembling hands. Something inside him whispered, "This is not just charity, this is personal." He needed answers, not as a boss, but as a man who was slowly losing control of his own heart. He called a private investigator, a man who never failed to find the truth, find out everything about Maria and that girl, Leonardo said. His voice was calm, but his hands were not. Hours felt like days. His mansion felt colder than ever. When the report finally arrived, Leonardo sat alone in his office. The papers were thick. The truth was heavier. The girl's name was Sofia. She was 9 years old. Her mother was sick and unable to work, no father, no money, no school, no future. Leonardo felt a sharp pain in his chest, a child living in darkness while he lived in light. But then he read Maria's file, and his world stopped. Maria once had a daughter, a little girl with curly hair and bright eyes. 15 years ago, the child disappeared while playing outside their small home. Maria searched everywhere. Police, streets, hospitals, shelters, nothing. No trace, no goodbye. Her husband left her, blaming her. Her family broke, her life collapsed. Leonardo's hands started shaking. He remembered how Maria always stared at children in parks. He remembered her silence during family holidays. He remembered the sadness behind her gentle smile. Suddenly, everything made sense. Sofia was not just a poor girl. She was a shadow of Maria's lost child, a second chance to love, a silent prayer answered by fate. Leonardo leaned back and closed his eyes. He felt something wet on his cheek. He was crying, without realizing it. He whispered, "She's living with a broken heart, and still giving love." At that moment, he felt ashamed of himself. He had all the money in the world, but he had never given anything to anyone, except orders. The truth hit him like a storm, and he knew he could not stay silent anymore. He had to talk to Maria. He had to face this story, even if it changed him forever. That evening, Leonardo called Maria into his office. She walked in slowly, her hands folded, her eyes lowered. She thought she was in trouble. She thought she would lose her job. Silence filled the room, a heavy, uncomfortable silence. Leonardo looked at her for a long moment. His voice was softer than ever before. "Why are you helping that girl?" he asked. Maria froze. Her fingers started shaking. Her lips trembled. For a few seconds she said nothing. Then her eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "Please, don't fire me." Leonardo felt a knife in his chest. He shook his head slowly. "I'm not angry," he said. "I just want to understand." Maria took a deep breath. Her voice broke as she began to speak. 15 years ago, she was a young mother. She lived in a poor neighborhood. She worked all day in a factory just to feed her child. One afternoon, her little daughter went outside to play. She never came back. Maria searched everywhere. She ran through streets. She begged the police. She checked hospitals and shelters. But her daughter was gone. No trace, no answers. Her husband blamed her. He said it was her fault. He left her alone with her pain. Maria said she felt like her heart died that day. She stopped dreaming. She stopped smiling. She stopped living. Then one day she met Sofia, a poor little girl with the same eyes, the same smile, the same voice. "I saw my daughter in her," Maria cried. "I felt God gave me another chance to love." She said she didn't want Sofia to suffer like her child did. She didn't want another girl to grow up hungry, scared and forgotten. "So I help her quietly," she whispered. "Not because I am rich, but because I am a mother." Her shoulders shook as she cried. She covered her face with her hands. Leonardo stood there, unable to speak. He had never seen pain so deep and love so pure. For the first time he understood something important. Some people lose everything, but still choose to give love. And that truth broke his cold heart completely. Leonardo stood there in silence, listening to Maria's painful story. Her tears were still falling. Her voice was still shaking. And his heart was no longer cold. For the first time in his life, the powerful billionaire felt small. He had built empires. He had controlled thousands of people, but he had never faced a broken mother's heart before. He slowly sat down. His hands covered his face. A deep breath escaped his chest. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Maria looked up, surprised. No one had ever apologized to her like that. Leonardo remembered how he ignored her for years, how he thought kindness was weakness, how he believed emotions had no value. But now, those emotions were tearing him apart. He stood up and walked toward her. He spoke softly, "You are not alone anymore." The next day he did something no one expected. He went to Sofia's house himself. He saw the broken walls. He saw the sick mother lying on a small bed. He saw the girl studying with old books and hope in her eyes. His chest tightened. He promised to pay for Sofia's education. He promised to treat her mother in the best hospital. He promised to change their lives forever. Sofia looked at him with wide eyes and said, "Thank you, Uncle." That single word shattered his heart in a beautiful way. For the first time someone called him family. Leonardo felt tears again, but this time they were not from pain. They were from something new, something warm, hope. He looked at Maria and said, "You saved this child, and you saved me too." Maria smiled through her tears. It was a smile he had never seen before, a smile of relief, a smile of healing. That night, Leonardo realized something shocking. Money never made him happy. Power never gave him peace, but kindness changed everything, and he knew his life would never be the same again. Months passed, but Leonardo was no longer the same man. The mansion that once felt cold and empty slowly began to feel alive. Sofia's laughter echoed through the halls. Maria's footsteps no longer sounded tired, and Leonardo's heart no longer felt heavy. Sofia started going to a good school. She carried new books, clean clothes, and big dreams in her small hands. Her mother received treatment and slowly began to recover. Maria watched them every day with grateful eyes. She finally felt like a mother again. She finally felt like life had given her another chance. Leonardo spent time with Sofia after work. He listened to her stories. He helped her with homework. He watched her draw pictures of a happy family. One day, she gave him a drawing. In the picture, there was a man, a woman, and a little girl holding hands. "This is us," Sofia said softly. Leonardo felt his heart stop for a moment. He had spent his whole life chasing money. But now, a child. A simple drawing meant more than all his wealth. He created a foundation to help poor children. He built schools. He paid for treatments. He gave chances to kids who had nothing. People were shocked by his transformation. They said the cold billionaire had become a kind man. But only Leonardo knew the truth. It was not money that changed him. It was Maria's pain. It was Sofia's hope. One evening he stood in the garden and watched Maria and Sofia laugh together. He whispered to himself, "Family is not always by blood. Sometimes it is by heart." He realized something powerful. The poorest people can have the richest hearts, and the richest people can be the loneliest souls. That day Leonardo finally felt rich, not in money but in love.